Hello, lovely people. I just realized I don't have the YouTube chat open in a different tab. I'm going to get to that. Matt will be here. He'll just be a little late because he had to work late, and thus it has thrown off everything. I told him that was perfectly fine to take time to eat his dinner. We don't want him to choke. Or at least I don't want him to choke. Who knows with his relationships with my other regulars some days.
How dare he have a life?
Oh God, I'm hearing you in my ear. No, load the thing so I can pop out the chat. How dare he have a life? Laura, the YouTube had started me so loud I didn't realize you had said anything until the video that I was trying to mute said and I was like, that's not my voice. Oh, that's Laura.
Surprise!
Hello, everybody. Hi, how are you? We're gonna put the banners up. So, how was everybody's weekend?
Good.
I assume Fox is yelling at me in the corner. Oh, it's his own fault. Okay. It is not his own fault. He can't control work.
Let's see, what did I do?
I don't know. I just realized I still had a game playing in the background, and I was trying to exit it, and the game was not going down without a fight. Too short. That's fair. Nicole, I don't remember if I said hello, so hello. You got your seasonal haircut. I thought you were like, you got your second haircut. I was like, in your life or of the year? But seasonal haircuts sound fun. Mine is just
2 flash fictions this weekend.
Well, damn, 2.
Yeah.
Are they for anything, or did you just feel like writing some flashes?
So Tiffany, TLRS Lifestyle, does Saturday shorts every other Saturday. So I was on there with her and JC Carpenter. And so there was a prompt. 2 women are told the same thing at the same time. That changes their life. So I wrote one in 30 minutes, and then the next sprint, I wrote another one in 30 minutes. So
nice.
Yeah.
So did you write one from one woman's perspective and the other from the other woman's perspective?
No, the first one had both perspectives in it.
Okay.
And then the second one was just one person's perspective.
Nice. Congrats on your release. What release? What happened while I was doing family things?
So an hour ago, I did my stream for the release of Tiny Shivers announcement. So I did the cover reveal and the release date. So
excuse me while I go put that open in a tab and also check YouTube, because I didn't get an announcement about that stream. YouTube, what are you doing? Ring that bell for Laura. Okay. YouTube turns my announcements off for people sometimes, and I'm like, excuse, this was rude.
So this is the proof copy.
Yes, it's so pretty. Hold on. Where's the... Yeah. And is that one middle grade or adult?
Adult.
Okay. Because apparently my oldest has really gotten into horror stories this year.
Mm-hmm.
So on his Easter list is the compilation of middle grade short stories that you had published something in.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be getting that.
Common.
Yeah. So I'm looking for more middle grade horror for him. So
Nice.
got to make my list. Here he is, not dead, not
Dead, just wet.
choked on his dinner.
Apologies for the wet hair. I was in a shower 5 minutes ago.
All right, so Matt, read my comments for me so I can finish my eyeliner.
Read your comments for you. Well, I don't have it pulled up on YouTube yet.
Oh,
but
you
I can
should
read
see
this comment.
StreamYard. Yeah, this one.
Got back from my field trip. My community college placed 11th in the country and beat like 40 four-year universities in our competition. Hell yeah, congratulations.
For the horticulture thing, right?
The Huda what now?
Horticulture.
Yes.
I don't know.
Plants.
Oh, fun.
Yes. RP is the one who always is working on his
with the
greenhouse.
Yeah.
So, and is also in a horticulture club, and they did a competition thing. Hello. Yeah, he said, I'm playing. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Bless you.
I only noticed because, like, I can tell this eye has eyeliner and this eye does not. And I'm like, oh, I gotta fix that.
Let me see if I can pop the
Child.
yield chat out.
Look, Laura's the one who writes horror stories. Yeah.
Hi.
Can she write what?
Pop out chat. Thank you, chat.
Come over there.
For popping out.
Yeah, she can have soda.
Okay.
You are much beloved.
Oh, thank you, everyone. I'm glad
Yes.
you're glad that I'm alive.
Yes.
We rejoice.
Because Matt's late. Oh, no, I did send it to him. I was about to say he has no idea what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But no, he should.
Yeah.
Send him screenshots.
Yeah,
Unless
I've got
he
ideas.
doesn't read them. Also, Matt, it's not that I haven't been telling you I've been reading The Raven Boys. It's just since I told you that I was going to send you vague messages, I haven't had time.
I haven't either.
Read
That's one of the things I'm thinking about doing during the sprints is just listening to that.
Yes.
But we'll see.
Oh
I
my gosh.
have that to do. I have critique work to do. I have a D&D session to prep for. So, like, I have many an option.
Yeah, I wish that I could listen to more Raven Boys. However, I must write my newsletter because my newsletter is going out tomorrow with a really big announcement. So,
Woohoo.
if you're not subscribed, you should go subscribe.
Go do it, everyone, or else.
And I like I've just been so out of it, and my brain has been so dead today that like I got to the newsletter, and I'm like I have all of the images and the links and stuff that I need for it, but I'm like, and I have a list of topics, and I've like made a section for every topic, and now I'm like, and now I must get to the writing, which I know once I start, it's gonna go so fast.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, I have to start. Matt is a clean bean.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of those like, could I have gone on without taking a shower? Sure, you guys can't smell me, but
You would
but I would know that I'm icky.
and then you wouldn't be able to focus. It's fine.
I knew I would be reeking of coffee, and so not the vibe.
We get it. You were still here pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I was hustling, you know.
Yes.
Fastest I've ever eaten a sushi roll.
So this weekend we my husband got a membership for a gym, well, a family membership for a gym at a really nice discounted price through his work.
Nice.
Mhm.
So we went to the orientation on Saturday. The children are hyped because it has an indoor and outdoor pool, and it's got and you can exercise. And my middle child is so hyped because as of June he will be old enough because like when they hit 10 they're allowed to go in the weight room.
Yeah.
But before they go in the weight room, they have to meet with one of the trainers. So the trainer can like give you a healthy exercise regimen for them. Since they're like kids. And they're like, we don't want you to, do two things. Which
just wrapping out the bench press.
And like, so I told him, I was like, well, he's going to be 10 in June. And he was like, okay, go ahead and just fill this out so that we already have a profile for him started. And then after his birthday, we'll set up an appointment and get him started with all of that. And I was like, okay. And on it, it was like, why do you want to exercise? And one of the options was strength training, or like, build strength. And so my middle one is like that one.
That one. I want to be
And I don't know
huge.
if y'all remember, this is the one who, when he was 3, found his dad's 15-pound like curl weight and couldn't pick it up, but then worked and was able to pick it up with not like this far off the ground within a month, which not very far, but considering he was 3,
Right.
I was like, eh. Matt merely sat down and he was already on
I'm
camera.
always on camera. I'm being Truman good.
Always. So we did that Saturday morning, and then we immediately had to go to the library because books were due and the children needed new books because they finished a lot of them. And then we had to come here because Friday we had done some grocery shopping for a fondue party. Because my sister wanted to do a fondue party for the children, which consisted of melted cheese, melted chocolate, and a bunch of shit to dip in it. So I had to get home to prep said bunch of shit. And which my poor sister was stressed because she was a little late because they thought they lost their cat. He was just really deep sleeping behind some furniture, apparently, but like for 30 minutes. They were very concerned because he was not coming to treats, and that was very unlike him. So they were a little late, and she was stressing because my aunt brought all of her grandkids, and they're all small children. So it is not the children who are impatient. It is my aunt and my mother who do not deal with small children, with impatient small children very well, and then in turn become more impatient than the children. So. Yeah, but it was much fun. It was a very good fondue party. And then I proceeded to pass the fuck out because this is like more physical things than I have done in months. And then Sunday we decided, because we didn't have a family dinner over the weekend, and we always try to have a family dinner, so we had a family breakfast instead. So I made French toast and cream cheese filling and strawberry syrup, and we cut up some strawberries and bananas.
Popping off.
And Chris made some baked potato hash and and eggs. Well, I made eggs, and it was a big spread, and the kids were just in love with it. So my youngest got to help me make the cream cheese filling because she was like, "Mom, can I help you cook?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I put the cream cheese in front of her, put in the sugar and the vanilla, and I'm like, "Stir." Just stir for eternity until it looks like a butter. And she was like, okay. And so she stirred for eternity until it looked like a butter. I actually think she stirred longer than she needed to because just at some point she goes, "Mom, my arm's tired. I think I'm done." And I look over at it and I'm like, "Yeah, it's done." And she's like, "Oh, it's done." And I'm like, I should have checked on this. she might have been stirring for longer than she needed to. My poor baby. But yeah, it was fun. And then we had to go grocery shopping for the week, which the children have become masters of their budget now. We just give them so if they need dinners for 7 nights, then we'll give them $4 per dinner. So then they get $28 in their budget. And so, they might buy a TV dinner that's $1 something and then buy a box of 4 sandwiches or something for $4 or $5. And they're always under budget. We're very proud of them. We've added in a breakfast budget now, but they get it's either $2 or $3 per breakfast since breakfasts come in big packs. We're as long as you have breakfast for this many days and are under your budget, we don't care how much you get. So they're just living their best life.
Love to see it.
Nicole got color changing cups, and one of them is transparent aside from watermelons on it. The watermelons also change colors. Yes.
Very cool.
All right. We should go ahead and do our intros.
Okay. I'm Laura Nettles. My horror collection Tiny Shivers comes out May 9th. Super excited. ebook and paperback will be on Amazon. Signed paperback and hand-bound hardcovers and art prints will be on Ko-fi.
For me to
So that's that. That's me. Oh, and I'll be on Storytellers Hearth.
Yes, this weekend.
Yes. I have social stream number 2, which is 6 p.m. Eastern, Saturday night.
Nice. And I am Matt Hollon. I am a dark fantasy author working on my debut dark fantasy novel. However, if you are interested in some dark fantasy and some short story, I have The White Harvester. It is a pirate short story, and it is available for purchase in Sasha Black's The Rebel Diaries anthology alongside 12 other fantastic short stories. You can purchase it on Amazon or any other book purchasing website. There should be links down in my link tree hanging out down there. As well, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The latter two are the ones that I kind of post on. My Instagram is all but dead at this point. And you can find me here probably about twice a month or so. And yeah, that's me.
Yes. Anything else you need to ask me before I start my intro? Yes. He was like, I kind of want to try the treadmill. Also, can I download this and this and this?
From the gym, yeah, different.
I'm pretty sure they assumed it was the treadmill at the gym, as we don't own a treadmill.
I saw some guy running on a treadmill.
That's fine. We'll see if you could. Anyway, let me do my intro.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Writing Mom Samantha L. Nassett, and this is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. On Mondays, I live stream here, like this, where we talk about things and get some work in, or we have events. Like next Monday will be the 3rd Flash Fiction Free-for-All with me, Matt, Cody, maybe CB. We'll see. She's
Take
supposed
my
to be
title
there.
back. I need CB to be there so I can take my belt back from her.
Well, talk to her migraines.
I'll
We'll
see what I can do.
Cure them for her. Something. I have brain fog and chronic migraines and illness, which I'm struggling to remember what I was going to say, even with my checklist.
Storytellers Hearth.
Yes. I also co-organize the Storytellers Hearth, which the Storytellers Hearth weekend relay for March will be this weekend. The opening ceremony is at 7 a.m. Central, 6:30 a.m. Central, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. I gotta be up at the ass crack of dawn to welcome all the peoples to the event. I am only going to be hosting / co-hosting on 4 streams this weekend. I know, no, I haven't lost my mind. That's all that was available. People are actually filling up their streams before free-for-all, and like as an organizer, I'm happy about this, but as me, I'm like, what do you mean 8 people didn't leave me a spot? So saddened. Laura, how many will you be on this weekend?
3.
3. Okay.
For the first time in probably over a year, I will be on none. This will be the first one I've missed entirely. But it was not in the cards for this month.
It's understandable. It's fine. Just host 4 streams in June, even though we only allow 1. It's fine. If you would like to read samples of my writing, you go to my website, samanthaalnassett.com, where I have a spooky flash fiction and a murderous villain short story up. And while you're there, you can sign up to my newsletter to keep up to date with all things Sam, where this year, at least, you will receive updates for my experimentation of trying to get in at least 100 words a day for my project. You'll be able to see how that went in February. And also, I have a really nice announcement that will be announced tomorrow. I'm writing the newsletter today, so I can send it out in the morning. So go ahead and sign up if you haven't already. And if you would like to tip me, you can do so at my coffee Ko-fi down below if you're enjoying things. I think I have a bot. I should change the bot's response to thank you for giving Sam money instead of thank you for tipping me. I might try that. We'll see if I can. But yes, I think that was it. Oh, like, subscribe, ring-a-ding the bell so you're always alerted to the things.
Exactly.
Gifts and money.
Gifts and money.
Yeah, because I need a new camera so I can start recording videos again. I do have plans. But my phone, the memory just cannot handle it anymore. I can't even get through part of it. It like did so well for I think almost 2 years, and then it's just like no mas. So also this one, this is my new poppet socket.
Ooh.
It's so pretty. Like I got a new phone case because my old phone case was dying, and then so the new phone case didn't have a poppet thingy, and like I need them because at night when I'm reading the webtoons, I need to not give myself a black eye. And so we're looking in the poppets, and it's like the $10 poppet section, and I see this one, and I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. It's the only one I really liked or wanted. And then, you know, with all our other stuff, and I take the kids out to the car so that they don't stress Chris out at checkout. And then he comes in the car and he takes my hand and he like puts his hand on my thigh and he goes, I love you. And I'm like, okay. And then he goes, but bitch, that pop socket was in the wrong spot. And I'm like, how much was it? And he's like, it was $18. And I'm like, and he's like, but it's okay. It's fine because it's for you. And I'm like, sir. He knows that if I had been there, I would have put it back because I was not going to spend that much on me for a pop socket. But it's so pretty, so I'm not mad at him. The only other one that I remotely kind of wanted had this like silhouette of a wolf, and inside the wolf was like a purple mountainscape with clouds, but it didn't speak to my soul as deeply as the moons. Fox said I was going to blame you for expensive taste, but I should have known. I can't help it. It's so pretty. I don't even think the design is the reason it's expensive. It's because it's metal. So, which is fine. I just know that like when I tested it at the store, it fit really well in my fingers, which is great because I have small hands. So I do wonder how anybody with larger hands would function with this thing. But yes.
No one ever thinks of us large hand havers.
I think of you constantly. Well, more specifically, my husband, because his hands are like 3 times as large as mine. But today we're going to talk about short stories and other short form fiction. Like them, love them, can do without them. Nobody on screen has ever written or heard of a short form fiction. So
yeah, so is that just like a novel that's tiny? How does it work?
Yeah, they're like yay tall.
oh, it's like those pocket copies.
Yeah,
I
like
gotcha. Yeah, those are convenient sometimes. Easy to travel with. Thumbs up for
right there. We definitely all were not advertising our short stories during our intro. Hi, Kelly.
Real quick, my fan isn't too loud or anything, is it? I got a new fan.
Well,
recently.
I can't hear it.
Okay.
Fox, can you hear his fan? Because you have like.
Because I can turn it off if need be. It's not really doing anything for me anyway. But yeah, it's a new one, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't too loud.
Well, Fox will let us know for sure. He has like the hearing of a werewolf. I fucking swear. He like hears things that I'm like, my headphones are all the way up, and I cannot hear the thing you were speaking. Also, he said it can live for now.
It can live. Thank you, Fox. My eyes are burning a little bit, so I'm going to try these blue light glasses that I have and see if it actually helps. Because, like, I got them as, like, a gag gift, but, like, I think they might actually be helpful.
You should also probably put in some eye drops if your eyes are burning, because they may be dry. The blue light glasses
they're definitely
will only
dry.
help. Yeah, the blue light glasses will only help with fatigue. I don't think they help with dryness.
Well...
Unless you can press a little button and they just shoot.
Yeah, I don't own eye drops. So
have you tried switching your eyes with somebody else's eyes?
That's a good point. Yeah, no, I would like to maybe. Or well, what I'll probably do is just after the stream, I'll just pop them out and run them through the dishwasher, and just take them out.
You had a special spot in the dishwasher?
Yeah, it's next to where like you put the silverware. There's a little pouch, and I just throw the old corneas in there and give them a quick little rinse.
Sounds good.
Cool.
It'll be sanitized too that way.
Yeah, no, they're sparkly clean.
So, chat, how do y'all feel about short form fiction? I love short form fiction. I feel it has both its pros and its cons, but I'm a big fan of all of the pros and don't give two fucks about most of the cons. So,
It's one of those things I adore writing them. That I really enjoy writing short form fiction.
your parents in this.
Oh yeah, I don't want to get like gunk in the dishwasher. But yeah, it's one of those. I think I enjoy writing them a little more than I enjoy reading them, just because I'm more of a long form fiction sort of fella as far as like consuming goes. However, I think it's very genre dependent, which I can go more into that later, perhaps.
Okay.
Just
You could go into
we can circle back. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, if everyone wants to talk, we can like circle back. But yeah, like kind of like if you look at movies, for example, certain genres are going to be way longer than other genres. Like you go see a horror movie or a comedy, a lot of times it's going to be like that crisp 90 minutes. Whereas if you're going to go see some fantasy adventure, you know, you're looking at 2 hours and 30 minutes easy. And I think it kind of applies to short form fiction as well. Like I think horror in particular, I think works really well for short stories, because I think, and same with comedy as well. And I think the reason for that is both of those genres rely on tension a lot, and it's a lot easier to keep the tension high in like 10 to 30 pages than it is over 300, 400 pages. It's a lot easier to just maintain that tension and then have that one release at the end, or in the case of comedy, throughout.
How does our local horror author feel about this statement on horror?
So a lot of my horror are drabbles, so they're 100 words exactly. So those are mostly published through Black Hair Press, which does Dark Moments every month, where they will publish 100 words based on a theme.
Yeah.
So I read a lot of drabbles. I buy the anthologies that my drabbles are in, and read those. So I really like the super succinct ones. But I have been enjoying the longer ones that are actual like 3,000 word short stories instead of 100. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because
short fiction, if that 3,000. So
yes, but it's 30 times longer.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of times with my drabbles, it will be get in, get out. Like we're just exploring something very painterly. Like some of them, I don't even know the gender of the character. Like, it's just, it's happening and you're exploring more of the feelings instead of like internal struggle and character arc. So I don't know. It's just very different.
You get in, you stab them and bag them.
It's more like you build the tension and the dread, and then you crack the neck. So like,
you get that massage, get it nice and kneaded in there, and then.
So yeah, it's fun. You can definitely have more of a definitive end with a horror when you kill off the main character, and so the story is done. But there are many different types of endings for horror stories, so they don't have to die. And so, like, I don't know. Don't have to. A lot of mine die.
So I looked up Black Hair Press, and first let me tell everybody it's black hair like a bunny.
Yes.
Not the hair on your head, which is what I thought. I was like, oh, black hair, okay. And then I saw it, I'm like, oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
I've linked it in the chat for anybody who wants to.
I think kind of talking about those 100-word stories, I think just short form fiction in general, I feel like it probably has a pretty bright future in the industry. I'm going to be interested to see how it grows because, like, you figure any form of fiction, it's entertainment. You're competing with all these other forms of entertainment, and you see stuff like TikTok and stuff like that continuing to take off on these just very small little pockets of entertainment that can be consumed really quickly, being really popular. And I'm wondering if, short stories, what do you say they were called? The 100-worders?
Drabbles.
Drabbles. Stuff like that having a really bright future and a sort of a
So you
niche
think
in the
they're going to
industry.
take off more than
I could definitely see it because I think that's just sort of the direction entertainment is going a little bit. TV is popping off, TikTok popping off, these little like YouTube series with their like 10-minute episodes, stuff like that. And then I think it would make sense for literature to sort of go the same route.
Yeah.
I wish that I forgot his name was in the chat because like he's been publishing a series on Kindle Vella. And so
JM.
Yes, JM.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Yeah.
I wish he was in the chat today because I think you may have a point like like
it's going pretty well for him, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, like I've seen him posting on Twitter and like he's having a lot of success with it.
Yeah, and Kindle Vella in general has really brought the serialization of chapters into the mainstream because it's like I will not condone this perception that Kindle Vella invented serialization or is the reason that serialization.
Charles Dickens did serialization.
Yeah, like
even just on the internet. So because it's like there are so many different reading apps that you can download where people, but like fanfiction.net was one of them. I would say is one of the first that did serialized chapters.
I love it.
So yeah, but I do think Kindle Vella has done a great job of elevating it in the perception of readers to be perceived as more professional. Now I will give it that. But so yeah, I do think that serialization will is gaining a thing, and so I didn't think about the fact that like that would also translate to maybe short stories and flashes and drabbles also becoming more and more popular. That would be interesting to do, or to see, not to do.
Another plus for short form fiction, and I bring this up every time the topic comes up. I don't want to say it's required, but I really feel like any writer starting out really should write some short stories, write some flash fictions, because they're so beneficial in learning how to write and how to write well, because it teaches you brevity, which can be a big struggle. It gives you practice working with these structures, working with character arcs, working with description, any aspect of writing. It gives you practice with it without making it to where you're spending months on a project, years on a project before you really even know how to write. So it's one of those where like I don't want to be like you have to do it that way, but highly recommend if there's any newbies in the chat, start with shorter fiction.
And it's like there's this, I think, a misunderstanding that like all short form fiction contains the same thing that long form does. That it like has a plot arc and character arcs and all this and that thing. And it's like a lot of short fiction is literally a moment in time. Yeah. And you can choose what you want to focus on in that moment in time. Like Laura was saying, she focuses on like the feelings and the intensity in that moment. And, leading, it has like a specific purpose. And she like, you could read a short form fiction and literally know absolutely nothing about the narrator and a lot of times people don't realize that they don't know anything about the narrator until somebody asks.
Right.
If anybody asks, right? Because that's not the point of short form fiction. And that's like I had a beta reader who said that they normally read fantasy novels, and they betaed one of my short stories, and they were like, I don't think there was enough world building in the short story because I don't know what the city looked like. And I'm like, it's
Right.
a city. It has shops.
You-
You don't need to know what it looks
Yeah.
like. It's a short story. But I mean, I didn't hold it against that beta because they specifically said they don't really read short stories, so that this may. And I still I appreciated their feedback. They were great. I am not making fun of this individual. I am merely using this example.
Right.
So,
can I read one of my 100-word ones?
Yes.
Okay, so this one's called Spiderweb, and this was in Cosmos by Ghost Circuit Press 2 years ago. A tiny piece of asteroid nicks the visor on my space helmet as I begin repairs to the outside of my ship, floating in the void of space. A spiderweb of terror cracks into existence over my left eye. The air hisses at a high-pitched scream as it slowly oozes into the vacuum of space, taking my body heat with it. My erratic breathing puffs and clouds, fogging my helmet. Its fractals coalesce, blocking out the distant light of the stars. My eyes crystallize, daggers of ice delving into my retinas, blinding me. Oxygen depletes. My fingers lose their strength, setting me adrift. I am debris. So,
I love that ending.
Yeah.
what kind of spaceship? I don't know. What
Who
gender is
knows?
this person?
Who cares?
I don't know. How old are they? I don't know.
No, the point is they were fucked, and they knew they were
Right.
fucked, and they're feeling how fucked they are.
That
And,
wasn't
like,
the point of the exercise. So I zoned in and worked on trying to pick words that would try and make it
Be more
seem
impactful.
Yeah, like I focused more on exercises of word choice and things like that for this exercise on writing this instead of building a trilogy fantasy world.
Yeah, so even if you're like not planning on publishing or becoming known for these things, you don't have to write them with a purpose of, oh, well, I want to tell a story. You could just be like, I want to practice character description.
Yeah.
And so you write a short scene or small series of scenes of like this character who's preparing like dinner or something, and then all of their guests come in, and every time they go to a guest, you can describe that guest, and you can get a lot of different practice with different tones, because you could like, you know, describe this one character's outfit and use like light whimsical words because you want this character to just feel like a little bubble on the end of a rainbow, and then the next character you just use a bunch of grim dark words that like have like this person just the whole tone is dreadful because they're just so sullen and glum and they don't want to be here. So, and you can practice getting those things across, and then like you can either share that with all your friends or nobody ever has to see it. But either way, you got your practice in.
Well, and another thing, if you do want to publish them, there are so many great opportunities to publish a short story that give you that opportunity to become published, to be an author, to sort of go from writer to author, to be like, which I mean, it's a minor little thing, but you know, it gives you that experience. You get to experience the publishing process, the editing process, if you decide to go that route, and it gives you that experience, which can be really beneficial for other stuff, even like beyond writing. Like I've been in like job interviews and stuff where it'll come up that, you know, published author, and it helps out the interview. It shows a lot in that regard as well. So even like beyond the writing sphere, it's a great option for sort of just boosting your resume.
And yes, I know it can sound a little gatekeepy to be like, you're not an author before you're published, but certain things that gate is there for a reason.
The gate is more a definition of a word.
And like writers write, nobody can take that away from you. Like the moment you write, the moment you start telling a story, you are a storyteller, you are a writer. But an author is specifically a published writer. Right. They have crossed over the threshold. They have crossed over that gate into the published and presumably paid, depending on how you're published. Definitely published zone. So as much as I hate, like, you know, everybody should know my passion against gatekeepers. This isn't necessarily gatekeeping so much as people don't get to say they're a doctor. Yeah, people don't get to say they're a doctor when they're still a med student. So
right. But yeah, and like I've been talking about short stories a lot as like an opportunity for like beginners and people that are still learning. It's also absolutely like for advanced writers, you know, people that want to, you know, stay in that sphere.
Matt. I am an amateur and I will write all my short stories. I started yesterday.
Yeah. Because yeah, like I mean, I know some authors that, you know, they've published several works, they're authors, and they stick in that short story zone and they just publish anthologies, and that's great. It's its own sect of the author community. So like
Laura, for example.
Exactly.
Her short story anthology coming out May 6th or May 9th?
9th.
My dyslexia. I was like, I know it's one of the tadpoles.
So I have stuff published on podcasts, but also in anthologies and stuff. And I now have those credentials so that because I want to be a hybrid author, when I query my stuff to traditional literary agents, I now have publishing credits I can put in my byline in my query letter. So that's helpful.
I will also say that I do enjoy both writing and reading short stories, especially horror short stories, because a lot of times in horror novels and stuff, they get into like too much detail about certain things, or I just start to lose interest because they're trying to make the mystery land certain things. And I mean, there are some horror authors that are amazing the whole novel through. And then there's others that I'm like, why is this 700 pages?
King.
I don't
Sorry.
He has such I will say the only thing I've ever tried to read by Stephen King was It, but it was so raunchy. I was like, sir, no. This is not what I'm
I read It. I tried to read
an
It, and I'm just like, hey man, I hate everything you're doing right now.
I read his fantasy book Through the Dragon's Eye first. And I loved it. And then I was like, let me read It. I couldn't get through the first chapter. I was like,
I read so much of It. I read like 600 pages.
Language? What is happening?
Like I said, there's an audience for it. It did super well. We are apparently just not that audience. And but yeah, so I love reading the short stories because like I get that instant gratification, and like my investment in it was short, it was sweet. What we had will be remembered forever, especially when I've gone through like a 14 book series and I'm like, oh God, I've just dedicated. Even just the 4 book series that Matt and I are buddy reading together. We've been at this for a year now, and like we love it. Love every minute of it. But there's also, you know, sometimes when a book starts up and they start throwing names at me, I'm like, oh God, I gotta remember who the fuck everybody is. Who are these people? What are their relationships to each other?
Yeah.
Thankfully, the author, whose name escapes me, Maggie something, is really good. Yes. is really good.
Casually says yes, like I nailed that.
I was trying, but Laura's face, I couldn't. I was trying to have your
just
back.
Pure eloquence.
Yeah, she does such a good job of reminding us what's going on that it clicks in the memory. But still, like if she wrote some short stories that was just Ronan and his little raven thing going to buy a sandwich, I would eat those motherfuckers up. That would just make my day. That reminds me, Matt, I think there's a thing that they just revealed in book 4, and I need you to find it out so we can react together. So Chris says Eyes of the Dragon is good, or Through the Eyes of the Dragon is good. And then he said, I feel the more well-known horror from King are mid sometimes. His other horror are really good. See, I'm wondering if the mid are more popular then, because that's what people can handle, and then his really good horror is more niche because not as many people can.
My issue with it, when I tried to read it, I was like, okay, I like this plot. I like a handful of these characters. I hate the writing. I hate the style. I hate all of that stuff. And to where I'm just like, I feel like that might be a problem in all of his stuff when I hate his voice.
Chris has told me that like his voice changes a bit depending on what book he's like. The style actually changes with the novels, which I can respect. But like I only tried to read it because like Chris, it was early when Chris and I were dating, and he was like, he is a huge Stephen King fan, so I was like, all right, I'll try to read it because it's like one of his favorite authors. And then I was like, I cannot, it is too raunchy. And he's like, that's fine. So that was that. We had other book series we shared, like Shawshank and Green Mile, but like it is there. He has some other horror novels that outpace it completely. Well, give me a King novel and I'll try it again. Considering it has
the scene. Yep.
I'm
Bruh,
so glad they didn't put it in the movies.
But this is from a smoother. What is the smoother?
Not smooth brain?
I'm a smoother because I like smooth peanut butter.
Oh.
I bet that's what it is.
We have a new derogatory term, apparently. What's the one for crunchy, then? A cruncher?
Ooh.
You're a smoother or a cruncher?
You're
My
smoother
son
or a
just said,
chunky?
oh, nice. A chunker.
Oh.
Put the plant on the house.
He's the cruncher.
Obs.
Obviously. How could we
Clearly.
not
Of
know?
course.
I can't see what's up there.
Smooth like. That's
You guys have any favorite short fiction authors?
Not
Oh, wait.
short
Put the plant
fiction
on the
specifically, but one of my favorite short stories is Amelia Atwater Rhodes has a horror short in a anthology called 666, The Number of the Beast. Oh no, wait. My favorite one is in that collection, but it's not by her. I forgot the author's name. But it's basically about like this werewolf teenager hitting puberty and her werewolf mom preparing a thing for her. And it's less horrific and more sweet, but I still love it because the tone still has this kind of like tense horror feel to it, even though it's like also wholesome. And I'm like, I don't know how to process this wholesome horror, but I'm here for it. So that's my favorite one.
One of my favorite recent anthologies that I've read, outside of the Rebel Diaries anthology, where I am featured alongside 12 other authors, is All the Woods She Watches Over by Emily Mikosh. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It has a lot of like fantasy and sci-fi short stories, as well as poetry that I really enjoyed. And then less from an anthology standpoint and more just individuals. I went to school for English, so I've read a ton of like literary short stories, and most of them suck. But a few that stand out that I actually really enjoy are The Yellow Wallpaper, which let me see if I can remember, or not remember. Let's see if Google remembers who wrote that. That is Charlotte Perkins Gilman. That's a very good one. And A Good Man is Hard to Find is one of my favorite short stories, and that is Flannery O'Connor.
Didn't you forget one, Matt?
Till pizza do us part.
Oh, well, of course.
All that glitters.
Obviously, all of your short stories, Sam. Obviously. I was going outside of the people that are sitting here.
Look, Cody's you.
Harvester. Not Harbinger. Harvester. You know.
What
like
if though Cody happens to actually like a short story that's
a different one?
Harbingers that are white. The white harbingers. That would be wild. Fox said I didn't properly threaten you, and that's why you forgot about my short story.
No, I didn't forget. I was speaking outside of those in the room.
Like a crunchy. Yeah.
Sorry for assuming.
Cody also likes Hannah Lee Kidder in her shorts.
She
She
does
has
have
some
good
very
shorts.
good shorts.
Yeah.
All right.
One of
we
the
will
ones
go.
that I read is in a short collection called Paranormal Contact. It's the first story called With You by Jessica Ann York. And I just love her descriptions. One of them says, let's see, it's in the first paragraph. Let's see.
You can read the description.
My bedroom walls are lavender and covered in spotted walking horses. The soft colors bleed around him like salt on a watercolor painting. He'd always blurry in my childhood memories, an impression of an impression. A towering pale shadow with red eyes and hooded clothes, waving back on notebook paper. Just like, watercolor! Yes!
Yeah.
Yes!
I'm
Thank
ready.
you.
You're ready? What are you ready for?
I'm talking to Dave from Netflix.
Oh, okay.
We're playing hide and seek.
How am I supposed to know? You always just randomly talk to me. How am I supposed to know the one time I respond you weren't actually talking to me?
What? That is good.
Kelly said, since it is established that Sam is a great short story writer, when are we going to see the adventures of Vampire Who Can't Vampire? I told you we will see the adventures of Vampire Who Can't Vampire after I finish Save Her Soul, which is the title of my Shifter Pit Fighter. But I have to do that first, or else Fox may boycott. And I can't have him boycotting
We
because
can't
he
have a
makes my
Fox boycott.
thumbnails. We don't want me to make my thumbnails. That's not going to be as pretty. I should one day, Kelly, if you don't know what my bootleg thumbnail looks like, I'll go find it on Instagram and I'll show you when I made my bootleg thumbnail.
Hmm.
Because Fox was he was either sick or just had a shit ton of work or both. But either way, I had to make my thumbnail for a week and it is what it is. I have since been forbidden from making any of my thumbnails.
You should not bring shame upon your family.
I shall not. How dare you, Codifer?
You just said it was a thick.
It was both. All right. I will count us down. 3, 2, 1, go. And we're back. Oh my gosh, Google, I'm gonna fight you.
Here's my.
So, how did everybody do that sprint?
Here we go.
I was stream hopping and trying to outline the first chapter of a rewrite of a vampire romance.
You were cheating on us.
I
It's fine. This is an open streaming relationship.
I made tea and I folded a load of laundry.
Yeah, I know, but
Give me
And that's it. I didn't do anything else.
Okay. Sorry, I looked up how to pronounce it. So, The Raven Cycle is by Maggie Stiefvater.
That's what I said.
100%. I heard you clearly.
Yeah. Thank you for the confirmation that I was right, though.
You're welcome. I'm writing in my newsletter. I mentioned that I've continued the buddy read because it's a reading update, and I was like, while I look up how to spell her name, I also want to look up how to pronounce her name. But the timer was like went off right as the pronunciation video was loading. So I was like, hold on, I gotta hear it. So, but yes. Also,
outlining is hard.
Word.
Like, you got to make all the tough decisions right now, up front. It's like,
I mean, yeah, but like it saves you from having to make them in the draft. So
Word.
it's ripping the Band-Aid off instead of just being.
I hate pain, so just rip the motherfucker.
Like, I have a character who's getting something from an informant, so I gotta decide, like, who's the informant? How did they get what they're bringing? Is their information correct? Are they double-crossing? How was the person paying the informant? Like,
You gotta decide the details and shit.
Yeah.
Is this like your first go through the outline or your second? Or
So I drafted 22 chapters, and it's like, I need help.
oh,
So it's like,
so is this like a reverse outline then?
yeah, reverse outline with expansion.
Got you. Because I was about to say, if it's your first go through the outline, you can do what I do and just be like, they paid the informant, makes a note to self, don't know who, don't know how, don't know what. Future Sam, you deal with that. And then when I go through it on the second time, I'm like, pass Sam, you bitch. Because like sometimes going farther through the outline, then I like go back and have to make those decisions. And I'm like, oh, I can connect this here. And then things go smoother. Like when I was writing All That Glitters and I like had Vincent be like the waiter in one of the opening scenes, and I was like, I need an informant. Vincent, buddy, who works at this bar. Another beta comment I received specifically from that one was somebody was like, Vincent has like there's no reason for Vincent to be there. You could replace him with any other character. And I'm like, correct. However, if I gave that to like multiple like side characters, then he served his purpose. He did what I needed him to do.
Sorry, he's not the main
NPC.
character. Yeah.
And then I would also get other like beta readers who are like ride or die for Vincent. He is their favorite, and I'm like, the contrast.
No, it is always interesting, and no hate to these betas, but
yes,
it
no
is
hate.
interesting.
I love it. I love seeing it.
Yeah, it's interesting to get betas for a short story from people that don't normally read short stories, kind of like what you mentioned, because so often you'll get like their criticism and stuff, and it'll be like, well, that's just a short story, though.
Yeah.
It's like you're describing would be a novel, which this is not.
Right? Fox is like, oh, much hate to these betas. Fuck them. Let the world burn.
No,
but, like,
Fox.
Above that, he had been like, maybe, but also maybe you should help future Sam. Maybe past Sam shouldn't be a bitch. And I was typing, I agree. And so I hit answer him, and he said, fuck him. And I'm like, no, that's not.
No.
He's going to screenshot now. No, let me tell you, I love 85% of my betas, even the ones that don't like my story, because I know that my stories are not, which is a fun thing about like my betas, or at least the ones that I have on my beta list for a couple of them. I actually have a couple people who, for one short story or another, they were like, no, they're like, I didn't like this short story, but I liked your writing, so I would like to be on your list. And I'm like, you may stay. Like, that's fine.
You
You
are
don't have to
allowed.
like the story. I do not take it personally. It's fine. Fox, however, will take that shit so personally for me. Like, not for him, but for me. He's all like, how dare these people not like this story that you have written? And I'm like, such an Aries bestie. So people were asking about the thumbnail that I made, and yes, the CV nickname for Cody, Codifer. This is the thumbnail, which you can look at it. It's my bootleg thumbnail. And yeah, it is what it is. And then I was like, YouTube ads on music should not, or yeah, YouTube ads on music be longer than the song sometimes, because I'm sitting here listening to an ad and I try to give people their ad revenue. But at some point, if I start zoning out, I'm like, no, this ad has gone on for too long. And then I look down and it's got another like 2.5 minutes. And I'm like, bitch, my song was 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Why are you still here? The puppy. Fox has screenshotted only the part that says, oh, much hate to these betas, fuck them, and me going, I agree.
I may or may not have that picture as well now.
My beta. Don't listen to him. I love you.
So I see someone go, oh, I'm actually beta reading for Sam, and I go, oh, you are?
Don't shoot.
And I go,
Not unless you like know them and it's like Cody or something, because Cody would get the humor, but like not my other betas.
I can blackmail. I would never.
I'll just tell them you're lying. They'll believe me. Tina said, speaking of YouTube music, there's a YouTube ad for Beyond Meat here with music that sounds so similar to your intro. I get confused every time. It might be it might be the same thing. I just use a free one for now to like pay somebody to make me one. I got more work on my research progress. Nice. Thank you. It's a very I forgot that this was on the thumbnail, but my favorite part of the thumbnail is where it says "We miss you, Fox" in parentheses. Look, is it the worst thumbnail ever? No. If you put it side by side with my regular ones, does it stand out? Little bit. Was I annoyed Canva wouldn't let me make the rectangle skinnier? Yes. So annoyed. And it's like, oh, we've got skinnier rectangles if you want to pay for Canva. And I'm like, why? Why can't I just have... I remember that day. I never want to go back. Also, Fox did, in fact, confirm he... Well, his words were that he would end me, but I know he would never end me, so he would boycott. That's the closest. Do I need to make you stop playing with each other?
Raphael, I hope your head feels better. And I bid you adieu.
I also hope you feel better. Oh, Raphael will be streaming with me this weekend.
Oh, nice.
On Dubba Dubba Dubba. So
have fun.
Yes. I had topics. I had things to say. So we kind of touched on this earlier, but like world building in your short fiction, how much?
Yeah.
How to show it?
I am a proponent of minimal world building.
Not sure if you say none at all.
Of none. No, of minimal. I'm not a huge world building fan in general. It's one of my least favorite parts of the writing process is world building. Because it's one of those, for whatever reason, I'm just like, Hey, mind your business. To the reader. They're like, oh,
Mind
what
your
about...
business. You don't need to know.
Yeah, it's just like, they're like, oh, what about the politics of this world? I'm like, oh, that's funny you mentioned that. It's shut the fuck up, actually.
The dictators, I see.
Yeah. But no, so that carries over into my short fiction. So in the White Harvester, I can tell you all the world building right now. There are pirates. There's at least a little bit of magic. There's a tavern. There's alcohol in the world, and an island in the world, and it's semi-warm, at least where they are.
Presumably,
There you go.
some form of huge body of water separating the island.
It's
I know more about his world.
Piratey. That's all you need to know. If you have any other questions, make it up.
There's albatrosses.
Yeah, there's a little bit of magic. How much magic? I don't know. There's some.
Fox said 90% of your short must be world building. Please, the Fox. Matt, please. Matt, please. I will mind your business, Matt.
So yeah, I am a fan of, in a short story in particular, bare bones. Just tell them what they need to know, or rather, show them what they need to know. But that's it. We don't need a page-long info dump in your 8-page story.
No.
Those percentages are quite off.
I find I have a lot more world building in my short stories than I do in my drabbles.
Understandably so.
So, for ones like Soot Scamp, which is like 5,000 words long, I have a unique environment where it's underground tunnels that are a labyrinth with these fantastical creatures that are roaming around trying to eat people. So I developed just enough so that my character had a way to survive for a little bit. So like I developed. I name dropped, like he takes this plant, which is poisonous, but he takes the antidote at the same time. So it'll stop his heartbeat, and by the time the antidote kicks in, the creature that can hear the heartbeat and will stalk him by it has already passed. So then his heartbeat will kick back in. So like I have little things that happen, but like where exactly does the plant grow? What type of nutrients does it need? I don't know. It exists.
Right.
So things like that. And like I developed, like I called them varlet frogs that are hopping around and get eaten in the tendrils and like they scream. So like what exactly do the frogs look like? I don't know. They're a type of frog. So like I populated my story and did a little bit of funky stuff. Like I have a city that the character is being led to in the underground labyrinth, and there's lights on in the city, and he's like, something's wrong here, and the lights in the city start pulsating in these patterns, and then it shifts like tectonic plates, and it's actually like the exoskeleton of a creature that like gets him. So like I do some building and like making some, different types of creatures, but
advanced insect anglerfish there going on.
Because
I couldn't think of the word.
It is part anglerfish. The lure is actually shaped like a girl.
Lure. Thank you.
The lure is a girl with a lantern that leads him to it. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Like
when stuff like that happens, I'm like, I don't need the world building information. My brain just starts going, how did this creature evolve to have such a hyper specific thing like this?
Yeah.
So
it's just something cool, so I did it.
Right.
Give your bare bones some pants. They're chilly.
Oh yeah.
I did pants the story.
I do almost the same thing as Laura. Is like it's short story to short story for me. So like for some shorts, I'll be like, okay, they're in a city in America somewhere. That is the most you're gonna get. I'll pick a region only because I know, like, if I write in any establishments, and like, for example, if this city is like somewhere far in the Northwest and I put in a Waffle House, people are gonna be like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, no, that's gotta be this region thing. So I'll pick like a region only so I know, like, if they go to like a burger joint, like, are they going to a Carl's Jr. or a Hardee's? And this is only because, like, I enjoy that kind of accuracy in my contemporary. But, like, in fantasy, I'm making everything up right at that moment. I'm like, it's a coastal city. This coastal city, it's fucking colorful. It's pretty.
Right.
And then I'm like, there is a hierarchy here. Do I need to know what it is for the moment? No, we'll come back to that if
Do I
it
need
matters.
to know the money system?
Yeah, right.
Right.
I'm like, and he paid.
Yeah.
I don't need the currency system.
He did
paid,
not steal it.
They chopped.
Boom.
They picked out. There are so many ways you can get around saying what kind of money they use, or like they bartered, they traded.
Mhm.
So many, like, it's so easy to get around.
Coins.
Coins, gold.
But yeah, like, it's one of those things, like, when you look at, like, world building advice for novels, they're like, hey, don't spend more than maybe, like, a paragraph, couple paragraphs at most, on your, like, little info dump, whatever. And that's over the course, and that's for, like, a big old piece of fiction. If you were to do this for a short story, that instead of working with 400 pages, you're working with 12, you gotta, you know, in order to maintain that ratio of world building to story, your couple paragraphs you had now shrinks to, now you have a couple sentences to work with. Get your world building in it where you gotta, but we're moving. We don't have time for you to stop the story and world build for a page because we don't have much pages to work with.
It really, through doing it, it gets you in the habit and in the practice, which is also very helpful for novels, especially when you write in like fantasy or genres that require so much more world building, for you to get your world building in smoothly and succinctly instead of like spending too much time on it. Because like you said, it's really easy to info dump a paragraph or two in a novel, but like for the most part, you also shouldn't just info dump a whole paragraph or two because it can be jarring or like slows your pace down unless you're trying
into a brick wall.
Yeah. So seeing that in a short fiction and you're like, oh, I have to convey this information in 2 sentences, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you can take that and you can translate that to writing your novel. And like, then you can get so much more world building into.
Right.
It's a good skill.
Because like, so
I can force you all to write 90% of your flash fictions as world building from the perspective of a sentient mushroom.
But like,
you've already made the flash fiction prompts for next week. Granted, you could go in and replace them, and I would never know because I still haven't looked at them. But
true. But yeah, like for the White Harvester, like in the beta process, unless I'm forgetting any, I didn't get any questions about the world that the story was taking place in, because even though, as we've already discussed, there's not a lot of world building in the story, but the reader knows what they need to know about the world.
Yeah, they make those connections.
Like, it's not a challenge for the reader to be like, okay, there's pirate shit happening. Seems like a piratey world to me.
I will say there's also 2 different ways. This is a generalization, but there's 2 different ways that a reader will ask for more world building, and one of the ways tells me that either I didn't convey something or the readers weren't getting it, or just there's a disconnect between my intention and their comprehension, regardless of whose end it's on. And then the other one is just I did such a good job, they are biting at the bit for more. And like, I like that second one.
Yeah.
That other one makes me go, is it me? Is it them? Is it me?
Yeah.
Is it them? Do I need to change something? But the second one, I'm like, damn, I'm good.
Yes.
I feel like it's easier to use broad strokes on certain things in short fiction. Like, this is an archetype of this type of thing. And so people can fill in the blank of, I know what a pirate ship is generally
Yeah.
like, and
Mhm.
things like that.
And
So it's
when you're
easier to do
doing-
that for background as well,
Yes.
instead of like you can hone in on your main character and put most of the description on things that are important right now that the character is seeing and is relevant to the story.
Yeah, that's like in my original drafts of All That Glitters, I never outright stated that Eric is a merfolk. And beta readers who understood he was a merfolk had no questions about the magic system or anything. But betas who didn't connect that he was a merfolk, they were like, well, what are hunters? Well, what kind of powers do they get? Like, why does he have magic? How does his magic work? And I'm like, he's blowing bubbles. He's a fish.
But yeah, I really like that point about the archetypes and how I think in short fiction in particular, because a lot of times you'll see a little bit of hate on archetypes in like a novel, let's say, and it's just like, oh, there's kind of just like that character is just a trope. There's nothing really that special to
I
him.
love archetypes, though.
But in a and in a short story, you can get away with it so much easier, and it's almost like encouraged because you can tell your reader so much just based off of their previous knowledge. So like, no, when I say pirate area, I'm relying on my audience having familiarity with pirates. This isn't their first pirate story that they've ever encountered. So I can use those broad strokes, like you said, and just be like,
you also
boat. And they're like, oh, I see what you're saying here.
Specifically thinking of the White Harvester, you also, even if somebody's not super familiar with pirates, you also like leave in enough small details here and there that's like they're at a seaport. They're going back to the ship.
So that actually wasn't in the initial draft.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like some of my betas were just like, what is going on here? I was like, you guys don't know enough about pirates like I thought you would. Let me add some stuff.
That's like, yes.
I thought everyone knew that. Okay, let me add that.
I will say I added in somewhere that like it's just a single sentence toward the beginning where it says that Eric is a merfolk. Matt and Fox were so mad.
Yeah,
they hated that I put that in there. They were like, no, let them be confused. And I'm like, no, my beta readers need to understand. Like, it's just one sentence. It's fine. And they're like, but I liked it better without it.
Oh, gosh. There was one instance of that.
Sometimes you have to fight your critique partners.
I had something just like that in the White Harvester. And at this point, I can't even remember what it was. But I'd a handful of betas be like, I don't really get this.
Sorry, Matt, go on.
I had a handful of betas that were just like, I don't understand this one part. And I was just like, whatever, like, that's your problem. I'm leaving it in. Goes off to the editor, and the editor's like, hey, you should clear up this one part. And I'm like, dang it! Fine. Fine, I will clear up that one part, even though I don't want to. But now I don't even remember what it was.
My editor for things were like, yeah, you should clear up this part. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what about this part? Because, like, I said something, and she's like, look, not everyone's going to understand your story, and that's fine. And I'm like, it's here.
Oh, it was the ending.
Like,
that's what the editor was like, hey, yeah, because a lot of people, not a lot, like, I had like 3 to 5 betas that were like, what's happening right here? And I was like, I don't want to spell it out.
That's a lot of people, though, Matthew.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like 4 betas out of like 35 or something. So I'm like,
well, I could understand that ratio.
So I'm like, it's like 10%. But yeah, like, it ended up.
I had 3 or 4 out of however many betas for All That Glitters think that like Eric was going off to seppuku himself.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. No. And I changed it, and someone was like, yeah, but that's not a lot of betas. And I'm like, I want 0.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I can see how they got there. I don't agree with how they got there, but I can see it, and I'm gonna not. Because I also had one person who was like, he doesn't seem like a character who would, and the tone doesn't say he would, but like, I'm not sure if he did or not. And I'm like,
yeah, Yeah, sometimes
No.
things will happen, and even though it's one beta, you're like, I gotta change that. I can't have
Yeah.
a single person thinking that.
You're like, I can't even risk it. I can't chance it. That's just not okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes. The children are conspiring over there. I just hear them talking very quietly with little whispers and giggles, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Conspiring against you.
Conspiracy.
As long as they don't have matches.
How are you today, chat? You doing good? Are you enjoying the conversation?
Are you learning lots about short stories?
Yes.
We hope so.
Let me know. I was about to do something and I can't remember what it was. Oh, switch my banners so we can do our next rant.
So
I clicked everything.
one last thing about how to show your world building.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What you can do is incorporate it in descriptions of how things like the environment are interacting with the character. So instead of saying, like, the planet is red, you could say, red dust plumed against my booted foot as it hit the surface of the planet. Like,
Yes.
you can...
That good old show. Do your
Yeah.
world building and
Do
like
your
their
showing.
actions and stuff.
Dialogue is another really good way to show your world building, because I don't know if you know this, people talk about the worlds they live in sometimes.
I think
I
that's
know it sounds a little
mean.
wild and crazy, but yeah,
Especially if it's like the gossip corner.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love reading those. Like,
Right?
I know some people will give like those like if a conversation goes on for more than half a page and it's just like giving exposition for world building and stuff, a lot of people will give that hate. But I'm like, bitch, no. If this conversation is interesting, especially if there's a bunch of gossipy biddies who are shit talking, give me 4 or 5 pages of, I'll take a whole damn chapter of them expositioning the
and
world to me. If I'm just,
especially
they're so,
if
it's so
like
good
the
that way.
characters that are doing that have a really strong voice. That's one of my favorite ways to world
Yeah.
build, is like, oh, like, because like I feel like the reader doesn't even fully realizing that they're just being exposited to. If you can make it feel like a real conversation that's happening
Like you've
between
got like
strong voiced characters.
like it's a fantasy setting and there's like a
Mhm.
bunch of nobility and like you want something big to have just happened and they're like, did you hear about the crown prince? Oh my god, what did Prince Edward do this time?
Yeah.
Oh well, Prince Edward was seen with the captain of the guard. Not Sophia. Yes, Sophia. Look, I know she's like our first female captain of the guard, but like really, couldn't Prince Edward, I don't know, Prince Edward isn't usually one to go philandering about like that. But what did his brother, Prince Theon? He's had his eye on the crown. Like, come on, just give me this. Give me all the juicy details and gossip. Tell me all the world building like that.
It makes me think of like when you put medicine in a piece of cheese for a dog.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
your reader loves that like juicy character dialogue, but they need that little bit of medicine world building dialogue. So you just fold it in with the character dialogue and go, here, have some little character moment. Oh, you learned something. Oh, look at that.
And then after the conversation, it's like Prince Edward skulked off. It's like, alrighty, we've got Prince Edward's feelings on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I also like how, and it may just be me projecting, but you two seems very interested in Prince Edward and the scandal. So I'm like, yes, that's how you know. But also, did I improv all of that? Yes. Do I know who any of these people are? No.
We love improv.
All right. Laura, count us down.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh my goodness.
We're back. Need y'all to know I was being very good and making a lot of progress on my newsletter, and then Fox gave me a great idea, and I proceeded to spend the rest of the sprint planning it.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I critiqued like 3 pages.
Fox said, "Don't you dare blame me." You're right. It's mine and my co-conspirators' fault. We got too hyped.
Sorry.
I had to resist the urge to correct you and be like, "It's Gansey, man."
Trying to find
So
my random document so I can paste this thing I'm writing into it.
Ooh. I've started
your
cracking
time.
my neck. I've started being one of those guys, and I gotta say, I'm really happy about it because I think it's kind of cool, and I'm doing it purely for the aesthetics. But I've gotten to where like it actually cracks a decent amount of the time, which is I'm like, yeah, sorry, cool guy coming through. Just
I
gotta
don't know
crack my neck.
I don't know about the neck, but I know that like I'm pretty sure it's for all joints, but when your joints crack, it's because like there was a buildup of fluid, and so you're releasing the fluid. And ever since I learned that, if like I feel like my knuckles need to pop, I will crack them. I don't care
Yeah.
because I'm like, no, it's built up. It needs to be released. And somebody was like, well, you're gonna give yourself arthritis that way, and I looked it up, and actually there was this guy who really wanted to know if it was bad for you or not, so he cracked the knuckles in his right hand but never his left hand so that he could see. I'm like, this is dedication, my
Yeah,
good
we
sir.
love it.
And like I think he did it for 20 years or something like that, and he developed arthritis in his left hand but not his right.
Yeah. No, I
And
mean,
it's
it's
like,
one of those where, as far as I know, there's no evidence that says it's bad for you to crack
Yeah.
your joints or anything like that. And for me, my neck it started because like my neck just gets fairly stiff. I've always had a semi-stiff neck,
it's probably
and I think
because
it's
the
because
fluids
it's so
are built up.
long
Yeah.
that like it just gets stiff. When I was a teenager, I like fully like tore like my neck muscles twice, and like had to like I was walking around like this for like 3 days.
Matt, I have a chainsaw.
What? Oh, I was like, for my neck?
No.
No.
I'm sorry. That sounds painful. I'm glad that cracking your neck seems to be helping it.
But yeah, it's
He has accomplished dinner. Go ahead.
no, it just I mean, honestly, like I haven't like hurt my neck in like years, and I only started doing this recently. But I mean, I'm gonna give it some credit, and it's cool to do. I get to pretend I'm some like tough guy, and I go, let's go, like one of those things.
I got ready for bed and listened to some YouTube. My train wreck of a body wasn't up for more. I feel that. This is like the year of my hibernation, I feel, and I don't like it.
Yo,
I'm
I've been
just
sleeping
like,
so much this year.
so have I.
Like,
I'm like, bruh. Like, I'll go to bed early because I'm tired, and I'm like, okay, so I'll have energy to do stuff while the kids are at school, right? I'm like up for an hour, and my eyes start hurting. They're so tired, and I'm like, I do not like this. So I'll be like, okay, I'll rest my eyes for like an hour, and bruh, next thing I know is like afternoon, and I'm like, like today I got a message from Fox who was like, post your live stream at like 1 in the afternoon, and I'm like, I just woke up. He's like, did you stay up till 6 last night? And I'm like, I wish. No.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like I'll go to bed at like 2 a.m. and I'll wake up at like noon, and I'm like, oh god, I can't do that again. I gotta get up earlier, so I'll go to bed at like 11 and wake up a little earlier, and I'll still sleep till noon, and it's just like, well, what do you want me to do?
As much as I hate that for you, I am glad I am not alone in the year of hibernation.
So much. I don't know.
What about you, Laura? Is your sleep just normal?
It's really wonky.
Fox said I've gotten too old for energy. I'm not allowed to.
Like sometimes I'll nap twice a day on the weekends, and other times I won't be able to fall asleep till 6 in the morning. So it's
Like,
I also feel that. Last week, I was like, okay, maybe I just need to say fuck it to being nocturnal and just, embrace my nocturnal life, right? So I stayed up until 2, 3 in the morning doing writer things or getting the dishes done. And it was great. I was awake. I was energetic. I was doing things. I was getting shit done. And then I took a nap, made sure the kids got on the bus. And then I took another nap. And then I was up and I was good. And everything was great. And I'm like, yeah. And that worked for like 2, 3 days in a row. And then the weekend came and I just passed the fuck out, but then also slept early. And then last night happened and I fell asleep next to my older. He's like my sleeping drug. I don't know what it is. The other two I can cuddle with and I'm fine. That one cuddles near me and I'm passing the fuck out. So like I fell asleep when I was putting them to bed and I woke up around 12:30 and I went downstairs to go back to sleep and then I had such a shit time going falling back asleep. I was like, do I need to go back upstairs? What's going on?
well, that's my thing. Like, I almost never have any trouble falling asleep. I just will then sleep for so
forever.
long. Just, and it's like as I age, I need more sleep instead of the idea of like, oh, once you're like, done growing and everything, you require less sleep. Not me,
Normally, yeah.
because I went from like as a teenager routinely get like 8 hours of sleep, then like early 20s, it became like, oh god, I need 9 hours of sleep. Now I'm entering my mid 20s, and it's like, yo, 10 hours of sleep seems like the move.
By the
It's
time
like, you gotta stop.
by the time you get to 50, you're just going to be asleep.
Yeah, I think my body is telling me like, hey, you're gonna die soon.
No!
That's like, hey,
So
look out for 40. That's the end.
Have you read the Junji Ito short story about the guy who's, when he squeaks, it feels like it's years?
Oh, when he sleeps. I thought you said when he squeaks. I'm like, is he a mouse?
When he sleeps.
No, I have not.
So every time he sleeps, it feels like longer and longer has passed. And so, like, his brain is expanding and, like, he's, like, ascending. It was a weird one, man. It was really cool. But, like, yeah, like a million years passed last night. Like,
oh no. That's how I feel some days, though. I fell asleep on Saturday, and when I woke up, I was like, what day is it?
Yeah, I had that. I want to say that. Oh no, it was yesterday. I took a nap, and when I woke up, I'm just like, I don't know who I am anymore.
Can I help you?
That nap changed me on a spiritual level.
That nap made you
like you wake up. Like I woke up from like a hour-long nap, and I'm like, this is some existentialism right here. Like, who are any of us? What is the universe?
The story is called The Long Dream.
The Long Dream. That makes sense. Everyone's just gonna, like, next Monday, instead of a flash fiction free-for-all, we'll just have a nap.
Yeah.
It's just everyone will just nap.
Yo, if I take a nap in the PM, that's going to bed. I will not be waking up from it.
That's fair.
Although there was that one stream where I had like a really bad headache or something, and so I napped during the sprints.
I encourage naps.
When you guys were like calling for me, you're like, "Where did he go?" And I would just sleep on my bed, and I woke up.
Okay?
Oh right, hey.
Like, if anybody ever needs a nap on the stream, it's fine. Just turn your camera off. Just let me know so that I don't freak out that you're not coming back.
Because like I wasn't planning on taking the nap. I was like, just rest your eyes, and then I fell asleep.
They made a live action of this? What?
Oh, Laura went down a rabbit hole. So this part is for chat or us to discuss our own short stories. We've kind of been doing that all night, though. Yeah. So you can if you want to. You don't have to.
From our own references. What I will share, before I go into White Harvester stuff, because I've been talking about the White Harvester forever. What
Perhaps
I find
you
really...
should write a second short story, and then you can go back and forth between the two.
No, what I find sort of funny and just like I feel like a lot of people go on this sort of journey. Maybe not, but when I was like in college and stuff, I wrote a handful of short stories, and they were all just so pretentious and so just like literary and just like not good at all.
Oh no.
And yeah, as I age, I'm like, yo, hey Matt, when you were 19, 18, you're the worst person on earth. You were so pretentious. But and so I wrote all those, and I'm like, there's deep meaning here. There's not. It's horrible garbage. And then I proceeded.
The call out to baby Matt.
And then I went and wrote a fun little pirate story with a pirate with a magical bird and
Yes.
killing annoying men.
Good.
And that's the one I published. And I'm like, this is a lot more me. I'm not pretending to be someone else anymore. I'm writing a silly pirate story.
That's good.
A silly, gruesome pirate
I was gonna say a
story.
very dark, silly, self-proclaimed silly story.
Yeah. I mean, it's silly in the sense of like, no one's being like, oh my god, is that Hemingway?
No, I get you. Like, my absolute favorite part of all that glitters is when I was, because Eric is semi-based on a lionfish. I say based on, and not that he is a lionfish, because I don't like to limit myself. Like, I don't like
Yeah.
to put barriers on it, because lionfish technically, like the way their poison works is very specific, and I'm like, I'm gonna need him to do other things with his toxin.
Yeah.
So he's just vaguely based on it. But one of my favorite things is that lionfish blow bubbles into their prey's face to disorient them. And I was like, he can be Sailor Mercury! I can make him use magic bubbles to disorient people! Which, when I told, I want to say Chris and maybe Fox will call me out if I'm wrong, they were like, not certain how I was going to pull that off in a way that didn't seem ridiculous. But I did, because I'm me. And that is just my favorite thing about the entire story, is that I was able to give him bubble blast.
Not only is he bubbles, but he's also destroying the Caribbean reefs with his invasive speciesness.
We don't have a Caribbean reef in the story. But
Eric's
also,
just sitting there in the
when-
bar, he's just like, you know what? Fuck
You
the
know what?
Caribbean.
No!
And we're like, Eric!
Oh, Fox said of all the times he's doubted me, that wasn't one of them. So I'm sorry for that, Fox. Then I appreciate your unerring belief in my ability to make
Unerring.
bubble blast. To make a bubble blast very serious in my magic fight.
Nice. Ugh. I have a ton of short stories. There ended up being 101 in this one.
Nice.
But I have a bunch of short stories that I've started and haven't finished yet.
Same.
One is about a guy who inherits the house that his parents had. His parents were horrible people, so he ended up in foster care at the age of 6. And so this is his first time coming back since he was taken away from the house. And it's him trying to come to terms with his trauma. So, like, his therapist is like, you should go see the house, like, do the paperwork, like, go face your trauma. And so he's spending the night in the house in his old bedroom on the top bunk, and there's a kid in the bottom bunk that starts coming up over the edge.
Oh,
He's
no.
like,
No. I was about to ask, is the kid supposed to be there?
the kid is going to be a phantom of his 6-year-old self still there.
Ooh, that's fun.
So, like, that one, I got to the reaching over and him flipping out. But then I was like, how do I pull this off? So
I'm
that
saying,
was on pause.
If I was him and I survived that interaction, first thing in the morning, calling the therapist up and like, hey, we're done.
Revoke
Not
your
seeing
license.
you again. Click.
Sorry, It's over. I need to start seeing someone new.
Like,
Yeah.
horrible advice.
Yeah. So that one I started. I started one that is a haunted lighthouse,
I
where
love lighthouse fiction.
the guy who is in charge of the lighthouse has mercury poisoning because this is the old Fresnel lenses on the
Yeah.
mercury baths,
Yeah.
and they would literally
Everything
sift
gave
the
people
mercury
mercury
through
poison.
leather
Back
with
in
their
the
bare
day.
hands.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's like,
Mhm.
what
It's
is
in there.
actually there? What is the mercury hallucinations? And, like,
Mhm.
what is phantom stuff happening? So, that one I got a couple pages into. And then I have one where it's a gothic romance where this guy is plagued by visions of these two lovers dying on their wedding night.
Oh no.
And so he goes to the house that it happened in and
Wait, so
realizes,
it's like by like a memory or
uh-huh.
Okay.
So it's his past life. And the girl
Mm.
shows up. She did the runes in the door to like plague him with the visions to get him to come check it out. She's the
Mm.
reincarnation of the girl. And
That's
she's like, I ran out of time. I'm dying. I need to see you. And so it's like, now they're gonna die again. It's like, dang it. Like, how do I
Look
I
here,
know-
motherfucker. You should have came faster. It's like, well, the way you called was very
So I gotta figure out
questionable,
how
ma'am.
to get them to die in a way that they revert to their past selves and wake up in the first life.
Mm.
So I gotta figure that out.
Currently I have a short story, not for her, that I on and off have been preparing for my website. I got it ready. I sent it to a sensitivity reader who gave me some really good advice on like how to make my main character's trauma more present. So I need to do that, and I want to read up on a couple of things first and then improve that story, send it back to sensitivity reader, and then once that's all good, send it to editor. But like it used to just be called Folger's Girl, or at least that's what Fox and I call
Is
it.
it based off of the commercial?
No.
Okay.
I think I know the commercial you're talking
Or
about.
That's where it wake you up is
Folgers.
this zest in your cup.
Yeah,
No,
that's the
it's
one.
actually it's a very platonic story. So it's like more of a paternal relationship with the small child, well, teenager. But yeah, no, I actually didn't know about that commercial until I was an adult, and I hate that commercial so much because like Folgers was the coffee brand in my house growing up,
Yeah.
and like to this day I still like Folgers, but then I'll just have people who will just bring that up, and I'm like, but why?
I
Folgers,
remember
why
when that commercial first came out. I think I was like,
I feel like that commercial, like the actual concept and content of that commercial would be fine if not for the casting. Because I
The
feel
acting.
like
It's
I
the
feel like the
looks.
casting and the acting, because I feel like there was like a weird chemistry between the
yeah, it's
characters.
like,
So
yo,
when they
y'all
were
had
acting,
too much
it's like
fun on set.
yeah,
A cookie.
Yeah, because like the first time I saw the commercial, I think it was like 10 or 11 or something, and I just remember being like, "That's weird. They don't seem like brother and sister." And then it got like became a meme, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that commercial. Oh my god."
because like I remember somebody just telling me about it, and I'm like, well, this just sounds like a brother doting on his sister. I don't understand. And then I saw it, and I'm like, I understand.
It's like, oh.
And I don't like it. So no, it was just called Folger's Girl because which is a little spoilers for it, but it's at the very beginning of the story, he's like shopping. He's on a shopping errand and he's getting different coffee brands, and his boss lady likes Folgers, despite the fact that like she's very high end and everything. She likes Folgers because she grew up poor and Folgers is her brand. But Folgers is toward the bottom. in this convenience store, and he goes to look down to the Folgers container, and there's a teenager hiding on the shelf. And his first words to her are just, "Well, you're not Folgers." And so, yeah, Fox and I just called the story Folgers Girl because it's like when we're talking about different short stories, that's how we referred to that one. Because it's all about like him and her going on the run together. So
that's a fun story. I love that story. I haven't read it in a while.
I forgot you read that story because
But yeah,
I'm just so used to nobody knowing that story.
Yeah,
Because
no,
I'm like,
I know
I'm
that
not
story.
preparing it for forever.
I really like that one. It's just I haven't read it in a while.
Well, it's someday. Hopefully this year. I'm hoping it'll be my short story for this year because I'm trying to get a short story out every year or two until I have 5 that really showcase the different aspects of my writing, which means I actually should write a romance short story and put it up there. Because I'm like, I like romance. I write romance. None of my short stories on my website are romance. Because apparently, when it comes to short stories, I don't write romance in short stories because it's like it's too short. I'm not, I should write a war short story because I do have, but no.
My short story well is completely dry. I have like no thought dumps, no nothing for.
Oh, don't
for
worry. Apparently next week we're in for a ride. Fox not only made 4 prompts, Matt, he made a 5th prompt, and he said this time we're having 5 because he does what he wants. And I'm like, Fox, I regret to inform you that the YouTube poll only allows for 4 options. So you do in fact have to get rid of 1.
Well, hopefully it can spawn some more short stories ideas because I love writing short stories. But the last couple of flash fiction free for alls, while I've liked my
2.
Yeah, well, the last 2, both of them. While I've liked my story both times, I haven't liked it well enough to be like, I should expand upon this.
I get you,
for either
same.
one of them.
But they're still fun to do, even if we don't want to expand on them. It's a great thought exercise.
Absolutely.
But also, if you ever want to just like throw ideas around for short stories, I can do I could just throw shit at a wall all day and see what sticks.
Because like I
you could write a short story about the vampire who can't vampire, and then Pat will leave me alone for a little bit.
No, my brain is filled with lately novel ideas naturally and D&D campaign ideas. Ever since I started DMing, I'm like, this would be a fun campaign. This would be a fun campaign.
You can write short stories about D&D characters. I have done.
That would be really fun.
Fox said, "Oh, so my prompts aren't good enough, Matt. I see how it is. Let me work."
No, Fox. I'm not good enough. I'm not a good enough writer to find gold in the prompts. I've only found silver.
I love this camaraderie.
One way that I get ideas for my short stories is I'll pull up a painting.
Ooh, I love that idea.
So usually they're Beksinski paintings. He's also known as the Nightmare Artist. I believe he's Polish. But
did he do the painting of the guy being eaten by a guy?
That's Goya.
I figured you'd know what the painting I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I do love that Laura just knew.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, this is a total shot in the dark. Nailed it.
Matt, have you noticed your heading?
Long form fiction sort of fella. That's me. Lately I've been loving the term fella. It just really rolls. It's a good term, and it's really fun for alliteration purposes.
It is.
There's nothing I love more than a little alliteration.
I like a lot of alliteration. All right. Would you like to count us down, Matt, for our final sprint of the night? Okay.
A 3, a 2, a 1, a go.
And we're back. How did everybody do that sprint? I got mildly distracted by my husband, but I did get a section done, so I only have a couple left now.
I don't know how many pages I got, but it was a solid handful. It's a productive sprint. I always love when the last sprint of the night is the most productive.
Because you're like, I have to get it all in now, because after this, I'm going to bed.
I was hanging out in a chat and messaging people Twitch clips of Desiree talking with a fake accent about butter.
My laptop station was just slightly too far off the edge of the desk, and I put my hand on it. It's fine, though. Isabella came by to say hi.
Hello, Isabella.
But I have to get going now because my children need to be put to sleep. And that is my job.
Early.
Yes. Hold up.
Hop on up there.
RP finished dinner and started the most recent episode of Critical Role while planning their greenhouse for tomorrow. I am so behind on Critical Role. I will one day
start watching Critical Role, but it's so daunting because there's so many episodes.
Well, campaign 1 and 2 are done technically, so they have an ending. The TV show is a pretty good starting place.
Yeah, that's true.
For campaign 1, because it does condense a bunch of things and gets like the shopping episodes no longer take 3 hours of your day. So
that's so real though, like especially like as a DM to be like,
yeah,
I'm like, all right, this won't take too long, and then the party spends the entire session just like in a shop trying to find a way to steal instead of just buy things that are definitely within their budget anyway.
I definitely do recommend campaign 1 if you like watching campaigns, though. A little bias, I'm sure, because like I had caught up when they were on episode 40 something and then watched the rest of it live.
I forgot the DM for Critical Role is Matt Mercer,
Yeah,
because I saw that. I'm like,
you say God eating God.
I can assure you I didn't.
Oh,
I'm like, what are you talking about? But I'm like, oh, right, his name's also Matt.
Critical Role campaign 1, the end, like toward the end of it, made me cry.
What I need to do is just actually buy a subscription to drop out and watch all of the other Dimension 20 campaigns, because I watched one Dimension 20 campaign and loved it so much, and it's the one that was free on YouTube.
Matt, Critical Role's not Dimension 20.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
I was like, instead of Critical Role, what I need to do is just watch more Dimension 20 because they're much.
But then you won't watch Critical Role season 1.
But that's fine because I'll be watching Dimension 20.
But these are two completely different DM styles.
Yeah, and I already know I love one of them.
One time, my family, we were playing a Lord of the Rings game. My sister was the DM, and we were in the Shire, and we needed shovels and stuff. And so we go to the shop, and we end up talking about how we could take the shovel, knock out the shopkeeper, and just take everything. It's just like, what is happening?
I don't think there's ever been a D&D party that goes to a store, the store owner's like, that'll be 5 gold pieces, and the party goes, okay, here's 5 gold pieces, thank you. I don't think that's ever happened.
My sister also had pickpocketing abilities, so she pickpocketed Bilbo Baggins and found the ring.
Not Bilbo.
She found the ring, but she put the ring back and just took the buttons.
Okay. Well, this ring must be important. Buttons. Most of my people that I have role played with, they're not really big on stealing. Like, I'm like, none of you are rogues. I see this now. But they are murder hobos.
Yeah.
Everything must die. And I'm like, okay.
Like the
Puppet
last
sister
shop my
tried
party.
to tame a mountain troll and ride it like a horse.
That
Love that.
and a bunch of adoptive parents. Like the minute they find an orphan, they're adopting the orphan. The minute they find like some small creature, they're adopting it. Sometimes not even a small creature. If it just seems injured and sad, they're gonna adopt it. It doesn't matter what it is. There's literally been 3 separate campaigns where me or somebody else is just like, this small abused child is coming with our party now. It's like, with your party of adventurers, yes, we're way better than their parents, and we have just kidnapped children. We're like, we don't care. That's our version of stealing.
My party, the last shop they were in, I made care to make the shop owner just the sweetest old woman. But there was something that she had that was out of their price range, and one PC's just like, well, I do have a gun. And I'm like, no!
My favorite thing that somebody has done, well, that a DM has allowed. Never allow somebody to roll for something you're not okay with them doing.
Yep.
Because, hi, Cookie King. Because, like, what happened was he had his character pop in, and his character was, like, a large creature, so he had a large-size hammer. I had a gnome barbarian who uses hammers. And we completed something. He's like, well, what would you like as your reward? And we're like, no, we're fine with what we were paid. And he's like, no, like, you did the extra mile, so what would you like? So my gnome looks at his hammer, and she's like, I want that. And he's like, roll for persuasion. My gnome Genkai is like ridiculously lucky with her rolls.
Mm-hmm.
I've never nat 20'd with another character as often as I do with her. And like, so I got 2 nat 20s to roll for the persuasion. And so she has a large hammer. She herself is a small. So
Dragging it.
Well, she's got like a really high strength modifier.
Yeah.
And like, because of whatever system we were playing in at the time, if you have a weapon or armor outside of your size class, you train so many hours with it, and it gets rid of the penalties.
Yeah.
But like, she was notorious for just killing everything with that hammer, because it didn't matter that I had to roll disadvantage, because she just rolled so high both rolls that she just never missed. So like, they'd be fighting goblins, and the goblins, like, the way he would just describe it is they just went splat. Like, she was so fearsome. There were these 4 goblins that, like, we rolled for intimidate, and she intimidated them so hard that they perceived her as a goddess and just started worshiping her. And she was like, "Oh, these precious little ones." And so she took them in, and I sponsor their education. So that actually comes out of my character's thing every month, is that I sent them to a boarding school so that they can be educated. They're on my character sheet.
That's so funny that you have just, I gotta send some for a college.
They're my goblins. But the headmaster, like, I had to roll good and pay extra because the headmaster was like, because they're goblins. So, they break things. And she's like, I'll pay damages. And he's like, Genkai. And she's like,
That's
what? They
so
want
funny.
to learn. That's
my family, we have terrible luck with rolls usually. Like, we were doing a Stranger Things campaign, and we were down in the tunnels with the demi-dog, and oh my gosh, we missed throwing gasoline on it like 5 times.
Oh,
It was so bad. Like, we set each other on fire.
You can ask Matt. He's seen me roll for stats.
Yes, you and your ridiculous rolls.
Chris doesn't roll his own stats. He just steals he like takes my extra. But all right, Matt, do your outro because we need to get going.
Yes. I am Matt Hollon. I am a dark fantasy author working on my debut dark fantasy novel. I have a short story called The White Harvester that I've talked about at length on this not podcast. What the hell? This stream.
Podcast.
All the D&D talk got me thinking podcasts. That I've talked about at length on this stream. If it sounds interesting to you, well, you can purchase it along with 12 other short stories in Sasha Black's The Rebel Diaries anthology. It is available on Amazon and other book purchasing websites. There's links hanging out down below. You can also follow me on social media. I have a Instagram that's pretty much dead at this point, but I also have a Twitter and a TikTok that aren't dead that I do post on sometimes, and you can follow me there. There's also links to that down below. And you can find me here on this channel about twice a month, and such as next week, where I will be participating and hopefully winning the Flash Fiction Free-For-All. So be sure to drop into that so you can vote for me.
I am
The
Laura.
offense.
I mostly write horror. The short variety. I do have some longer ones that I'm working on, including a vampire romance. My horror collection, Tiny Shivers, comes out May 9th. There are 101 stories in here with various subgenres of horror, including cosmic, gothic, psychological, the whole gambit. Yeah, I will be around.
And I am Writing Mom Samantha L. Nassett. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. I host these live streams on Mondays where, we have a good time, and sometimes we even do events like the Flash Fiction Free-For-All that Matt will attempt to steal the crown back for next week.
I thought it was a belt.
But it's something.
It's a WWE style belt.
Yes, sure, that is what we will go. I know the Holiday Bash one is a belt.
It's
I don't
definitely
know.
a belt. I think
I
they
don't
should
know
all
about
be
the
belts.
Flash Fiction.
I think we've watched enough anime that we are pro belt on this channel.
They're all leather belts.
Of course.
It's an excessive amount. If you would like to keep up, or if you would like to read sample of my short stories, which I have discussed, you can go to my website, SamanthaLNassett.com. And if you want to hear important Sam news, such as when I'm accepting beta readers, when I release new web pages, when I release new short stories and everything, sign up to my newsletter while you're at the website. And if you enjoyed listening here, hanging out, watching this on the replay, you can like, subscribe, ring-a-ding that bell. You can tip me at my Ko-fi down below.
Give Sam money.
And we will catch you next time as soon as I take the banner down. Bye!
Toodaloo.
Oh, I almost forgot. The Storytellers Hearth is this weekend. We will be there. Check us out.
Well,
You can, the link tree is below. Now we're out. Bye!